Welcome back, aliens. My name is Navin Reddy, and in this video we'll talk about generators. Now in the earlier video we have talked about iterators. So normally we use iterators to print or to fetch one value at a time. So let's say if you have a list of values, let's say 100 values, and if you want one by one value, what makes sense is to use iterator. But there are small issues with iterator, right? The first one, you need to create the iterator where you have to define those two functions, next and iter. We don't want to do that. We want Python to do it for us. And that's where Python says, okay, if you want iterators, we will give you generators. Okay, but now you will think we have two different concepts. Not exactly. Generators will give you iterators. Our job is done, right? So generator give you iterator. But how exactly to create a generator? So let's do that. So what I will do is I will just jump to another file, which is gen.py. You can create your own file there. And here, let me define a function. That's right, we have to define a function, not a class this time. So let's say a function define, and we'll do the same thing. We'll return the top 10 values. So we'll say top 10, and this will return the top 10 value. And I will call this as well. So I will let me just say I have values, and this will be top 10. So top 10 is a function which will give you the iterator. But hold on, a function cannot give you the iterator, right? A function has to be something special. So we have to convert this function into a generator. And the way to do that is, normally in function we write return, right? So if you say return 5, so these values will be having 5. But if you, instead of saying return 5, if you say yield 5, your job is done, because yield is a special keyword which will make your function as a generator. But now you will think, what's the difference? Even return will give you the value, even yield will also give you the value. What I will do is I will just go back here. Let me just print the value. And if you run this code, so you can see we got a different thing. Instead of getting a value 5, we got an object of generator. And that's the thing, because generator gives you an iterator. So this function is not a normal function. This is a generator because we are using yield. Yes, if you say return here, then you can expect it to behave normally. It will return 5, but yield will be different. Yield will also return the value, but it will return in the format of an iterator. And everyone knows if you want to fetch something from iterator, we have to use the next function. Let's run this code, and you can see we got 5. But now you will think, okay, that's fine. Even returns give the same output, right? No, there's a difference. In yield, since it's a generator which will give you iterator, you can write multiple yield statements. So let's say yield 1. Let me just copy this. Let's do it for 4 times, and then they will be having different values here, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can see we got 4 yield, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you run this code, you will only get the first value because you are saying next only once. So this is same as iterator where you are getting multiple values, right? So you got your own iterator without using next and iterator function. Let me just do that one more time. I will say next. Yes, you can also say next, and in bracket you can say vals. That's a choice you have. Otherwise, this will work. You can see we got 1, 2. In fact, we can also use a loop. So let's use a loop. I will say for I in vals. I'll let me print I here. The moment you do that, you can see it will print all the values for you, remaining values, which is 3 and 4. This is how you can create generator just by using that one particular keyword, which is yield. Okay, now there is another example we can take here. Example, let's say I want to print top 10 perfect square. You can do that. So let's create one. So what I will do is I will just remove this part, okay, because the logic will change. Everything else will remain same. Let me just not do this. Let's use a for loop to print all the values. But what should be the logic? So what I will do is I will say I will take a variable which is I initially, or maybe n will do. N is equal to 1. And now, since we want to print all the perfect square, we have to use a loop. I will not be using a for loop here because indirectly for uses iterator. Let's use while. So I will say while n less than equal to 10 because we want to fetch top 10. And every time you find a new value, you have to say yield. You can say sq is equal to n into n. That's how you find a square. Once you got this square, you can simply say yield. And you can say sq. Okay, so we are sending the value, right? So it is almost same as return, but then return will terminate the function, this will not. That's something you have to remember. Now once you say sq, you have to say n, because you have to also iterate your n, right? You have to say n plus is equal to 1. I guess our job is done. This should work. Let's try. So I will just run this application. And you can see we got top 10 perfect square. We got 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. So that's how you can do it. Because this yield will give you the next value. Because see, when you say you're running a loop, you're fetching one by one value. So when you fetch the first value, this yield will return 1. When the loop says, hey, I want the next value, it will give you 4. When the loop will say, I want the next value, it will give you 9. So that's how you create an iterator using a generator. But the question is, why someone will use a generator? Think about this. Let's say you are fetching 1,000 records from a database. So when you say you're fetching 1,000 records, maybe you want to print all, or maybe you want to process something from those records. So when you say you want to fetch 1,000 records, all these 1,000 records will be loaded in your memory. We don't want that. Maybe you want to work with one value at a time. So let's say 1,000 records, we want to work with one value at a time. In that case, you can use generator instead of fetching the entire list, you can fetch one by one value. So that's something you can do with generator. That maybe you can call as a real life example. So this is how we use generator with the help of yield keyword. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section and do subscribe for further videos. Bye-bye.